Okay, so it's getting late here, but I'm just trying to knock all this out, and I forgot to mention two visions. So, um, I'm gonna get through those real quick, and then I'm gonna go to bed. Okay, so first of all, I hope I haven't mentioned this one. Okay, actually, there's three. There's three visions. Okay, I'm just gonna start with this one. So January 20. Okay, January 28th. I Okay, so there's a big alligator that was coming at me, and he was like huge, and he was his mouth was open, and he was coming after me, and he was like gonna eat me. But then I pierced through his chin, like all the way through his chin, like that, with a sword. Was it a sword? Yes, a long sword, and I lifted his head real high, and but then I looked around me, and then all of a sudden there were like so many alligators that were just coming, all like stampeding towards me. And um and I thought they were all gonna attack me, but then they just kept running right past me. And then I realized I was standing at the edge of a waterfall, and all the alligators were just jumping right off of the waterfall. And it was a really long way down too. So they were all jumping right off this waterfall, and there were like thousands and thousands and thousands of alligators. And then there were two people to the left and slightly behind me when all this was happening, but I don't know who they were. I just remember they were there watching, and so the alligators, I kind of compared them to those pigs that were inhabited by demons who just jumped off the cliff when Jesus cast out the legion of demons from that man who was demon possessed. And so that's kind of what I compared it to. I don't really know what that meant, but that's one that happened on January 28th. Okay, so January 29th, I saw I saw this like weird strobe like mechanism that was going round and round above me. It was really big. And then I realized that, okay, so there are these two gears that came together like this, and they were like turning. And then at that point, I realized that I was inside this like golden clock. Like it was either a clock or like a pocket watch. It was some sort of timepiece. And so I was in the center of this timepiece as I was seeing all this stuff. And I saw inside those two gears that were at the very center of the clock, there were two horses, which I thought at first were unicorns. But then I realized that there were men seated on these horses, and they had horns like this. And I mentioned this unicorn being, I thought it was a centaur, but I mentioned this unicorn being in a blog post, so I'll link to that blog post. But so there were these two beings that were racing along on the horses, and one was a light color. I thought it was white, but it was like a light color. And then the other one was brown. And they were kind of side by side, racing at really fast, like breakneck speed, like as fast as they can on this timepiece. And I asked God who they were, and God said, it's death and chaos. And then at a distance, I saw this black unicorn being, and he was sitting on this black horse, and yeah, he had a little horn as well, and he like did like this, and he went to go charge at the from a distance. I saw him running like real fast, and he was charging at these two horses that were racing on this timepiece. And he, with his horn, he went like this and went like that, and then just like knocked them right off of the timepiece. And that was the end of it. But I was really confused. Like, who was this black horse? Like, why would he be fighting against these other two horses? And why would he attack them like that? And so my interpretation of it is that these two horses were on track. They were racing on time, literally on time. And then this black horse, unicorn guy, just comes and knocks them off track. And it's interesting because in the book of Revelations, it talks about the horsemen of the horsemen of the apocalypse, and there's a pale horse, and it doesn't mention what color Hades is, but they're running alongside each other. So I'm thinking that maybe the pale horse that I saw is that pale horse, that light colored horse. I think it might be that white horse that I saw in the book of Revelations that's described. But it's interesting because why would the black horse be knocking them off? Because the black horse it supposedly comes before the pale horse, whose name is Death, by the way. So why would this black horse knock him off? So my interpretation is this. Maybe this black horse is, like, there really is a war going on among the demonic realm, and that's why he knocked off his brothers or whatever off the track because he was jealous or something. I don't know. But that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, these unicorn things, I really believe that it has to do with wherever it talks about horns in the Bible, especially in Zechariah, and in Zechariah describes it pretty well as well. He describes the horns that cause division, which traces back to the spirit of division that God revealed to me in that blog post that I'm linking below. So make sure you read that. Anyway, so there's these horns, and they're fighting against each other. And in the video I talk about that I posted a couple of days ago about Haggai, it also mentions how the brother, it's going to be brother against brother in the heavenly realm that's fighting against each other. So I think that has to do with this as well. Anyway, this last vision was from today. Oh, there's another one. I'm not going to mention it. That was kind of not, I don't think it's a big deal. Anyway, so January 31st, I saw a man on a white horse and the horse and the man were on fire. Like, they were surrounded by flames, especially the horse. And so the man was carrying a torch, and he was holding it up high. And as he passed me, I saw behind him were a bunch of stallions, and they were all roped to chariots of fire. And inside the chariots were stacks and stacks and stacks of gold bars. And then I realized they were all emerging from a tunnel of fire. And when I realized this, it came into my mind like it was a big furnace. And it was like a big furnace-like apparatus they were coming out of. And so the chariots and the horses were passing me one after another. They just kept on coming and coming, and they were all following after the man on horseback who was leading the way. And at one point, so I was watching, this was weird because at one point I was watching it from the side, and then I was kind of underneath looking up at them as they were running, and it was kind of like they were coming out of a mine or something. Like the track that they were running on was kind of like a mine track with the pulley system, and they carry the gold and stuff into the pulleys, and then you push each other, like you leverage each other, and that's how you move. But except it was being pulled by these horses. So anyway, trying to think. Okay, so I think the gold bars are referencing purity, because the Bible says that we're going to be tried by fire, and we're going to be purified like gold is purified. And so I think that's what it has to do with. Like, Jesus was the one on the white horse, like described in the book of Revelation, and he's pulling out all these people refined in the fire, and just they're completely pure, like pure gold. So that's my interpretation of it. Anyway, that is all. Oh, sorry, this is another long video. I'm trying to make my videos like 5 minutes long, and somehow it always ends up like 10. Okay, anyway, good night, guys, and have a wonderful day tomorrow. Bye.